I still feel at the end of the day, the Giants have put themselves in a spot where they, unfortunately, right or wrong, in my opinion, they have to take a franchise quarterback. They have to find the future franchise quarterback here. And if it's going to be Sanders at 3, okay, so be it. If it's not going to be Sanders, then they better make sure they find another one, Jackson Dart, whoever that is. But that should be the primary goal for the Giants this year, this draft, is finding the future franchise quarterback.
He's definitely the most polarizing player out there. There's no doubt. I don't like him as a pro. That's my opinion. I've said that for a while. I don't like him at 2. I don't like him at 3. I don't like him at 5. I just don't believe in him enough to have that kind of a draft profile there. See, for me, what it comes down to from a Giants perspective, there's two ways to look, or two questions. Number one, is it better to ignore a problem and kick it down the road, possibly with a better answer down the road, or to compound a problem? And my answer is I would rather ignore it rather than throw bad money, if you will, at a player that I don't believe in. Because if they take Sanders, to me, that's compounding a problem that they made years ago with Daniel Jones, which I think just sets him back even more.
Right, but they thought the same thing last year, and that turned out to be a mistake. My point is, with this regime, you can't keep kicking the can down the road. Also, sink or swim, succeed or fail, the best thing a franchise could do is take a chance on a quarterback. That's the most valuable thing. If you don't have one, you need to keep taking as many chances as you possibly can. It can't be, well, we're picking 3rd this year, but we don't like the quarterback crop. Oh, we're picking 6th last year, but we don't like the Brian Daboll, at some point, isn't he supposed to be a quarterback guru here? So you're telling me that there wasn't a quarterback available at all last year that Daboll and Shane identified as somebody that could be their franchise quarterback. And now again, this year, you're telling me that there's nobody that the Giants can identify to be their franchise quarterback. Without a franchise quarterback of the future, they are going nowhere. So as much as I love Abdul Carter, even if they pick him, it's irrelevant. Shane and Daboll won't be around to see it reap the rewards, if it ever does, until somebody finds a franchise quarterback.
But I'm okay with that, because one of my greatest concerns, which is why I said that I would have not retained both of those gentlemen when we'd had that discussion, my fear is that you talk about job security and self-preservation. Well, I mean, let's face it, common sense would prevail for the most part. If I'm Shane, if I'm Daboll, all right, let's get a young quarterback, buy ourselves some more time. Here we go, get an extra year or two. Whereas if they don't do that, which I don't think they're going to, that tells me that maybe behind closed doors, or implies that they were given more than you better win this year or it's done. Because if it was the case where Mara intimated, guys, get your quarterback, take a big swing, and if it doesn't work, you're out, then I think that you would see a quarterback absolutely taken by the Giants at 3. I don't think they're taking a quarterback at 3. I think they're taking somebody defensively.
But whether they have the security or not, they need a quarterback.
But they need the right quarterback, not a quarterback,
what
Sal.
What are they waiting for?
Well, you're waiting for the right one.
Well, how many years is that going to take?
However many years it takes before they can identify the right one.
Let's play this forward. Let's say they take Abdul Carter.
Yep.
Russell Wilson's their quarterback with Jameis Winston as the backup. Mm-hmm. What happens next year after the Giants win 7 games, 9 games? What happens next year?
Well, okay, and I get it. And I'll answer it, but it's a good question. I acknowledge the conflict here. I don't think this is very easy. What happens next year is, if Abdul Carter's as good as I think he's going to be, you've got forget about Pro Bowl, you've got a potential All-Pro in the building, along with a few others, Dexter Lawrence guys, a couple of guys already have. So that is a good thing moving forward. Now, if they win 6 or 7 games with Russell Wilson and Jameis, they're going to win 3, 4, 5 with Shador.
Right.
And by the way, now they won't have Abdul Carter, and there's also no guarantee that next year they take that next step and start to win 8, 9 games and eventually 10 and 12 with Sanders, because I don't think he's that player.
Right, but
if you don't think he's that guy, why would you draft him?
But then they have to draft another one. I would never say, well, he's not the guy. Here's my issue with them. Nobody's their guy. Nobody's their guy. They passed on 1 billion guys last year. Nobody is their guy. Daniel Jones was their guy. How'd that work out? So I don't exactly trust them either. But let's just say that they don't believe in Shador Sanders. Fine. Then go get Jackson Dart.
They might.
Or the next. Okay.
They might.
That's what I'm saying. I don't care who it is. The Giants primary goal should be coming away from this draft with a quarterback of the future. Until they have that, they have nothing. So let's play it out without anything. Russell Wilson, everybody thinks they're going to win this year with Russell Wilson because the Giants think that they're better than they are.
I don't think anybody thinks that. I think most Giant fans think the Giants are going to win 3, 4, 5 games with Russell Wilson. Who thinks the Giants are going to be good?
The Giants think that they are better than they are.
Outside the Giants, though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think fans are looking at Russell and Jameis saying they're going to be good.
So then even more so, why wouldn't you take a quarterback? Without a franchise quarterback, you have nothing. But let's say that the Giants are right and everybody else is wrong. They're better than they think. And then they're picking what next year? 15th, 16th? Well, when's the quarterback coming then? It's not. So every year that they kick the can down the road, it's a wasted year. You should be taking advantage of these opportunities atop the draft to select a quarterback and draft one that you identify, one that you could develop into a future franchise quarterback. And they just haven't done it. So again, we're going to sit here where they have the number 3 pick and the second best quarterback in the draft by most people's accounts are going to be there, and he's not good enough for them.
It's a bad year to have the 3rd overall pick if you're quarterback hunting. By the way, you just said without a quarterback, you have nothing, which I agree with. It's been proven outside of a few rare occurrences in history. You need the quarterback to win big. So I'm with you. The statement makes sense. Without a quarterback, you have nothing. But with the wrong quarterback, you have less than nothing because, number 1, you burned a premium pick on him. Number 2, eventually, even if he's not great, you might have to pay him. That's why, go back to what I said to start the show. I would rather ignore a problem and try to address it unconventionally than compound previous mistakes and just keep making this thing worse down the road.
Right, but I would rather take the chance. That's where you and I fundamentally disagree.
I think you like Sanders more than me.
No, it's not even about Sanders. Dude, they had the 6th pick last year. And there were no quarterbacks good enough for them. But Sean Payton could draft Bo Nix and turn him into a playoff quarterback. Atlanta, who already paid $1 billion for Kirk Cousins, can identify Michael Penix and say, holy crap, this guy fell to us, we have to take him. So other teams can take a risk even in not ideal situations. With Dable and Jane, it's like, oh no, it's got to be perfect. Everything's got to be perfect. This guy's got, no, if it's not Jaden Daniels or it's not Drake May, we can't take him. No, we need a wide receiver. Wrong. You were wrong last year. Now this year it's going to be, oh no, we don't like Shedeur Sanders. We're not going to trade down for Jackson Dart. We're going to get Abdul Carter, the best player available. Wrong again. How many years is this going to go down the road? Now, drafting Shedeur Sanders could turn out to be a big mistake, but I'd at least respect the fact that they took a risk in getting the most valuable commodity in the NFL, especially after they screwed up last year by not doing it. It has nothing really to do with the player standards.
Okay, so more about the philosophy, more about the position, more about, stretching this thing forward. I get you. And again, fundamentally, I don't disagree. No quarterback, you're not going anywhere except if it's a rare occurrence. But I would rather spend resources, right? And it could even be multiple. Like, it could be something like just a real kick the tire like a Purdy back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it was 7th round pick. Was Purdy the absolute last pick?
I think he was.
I think he was too. So, but even if it's not quite that, but 6th round or late 5th or 7th early, whatever it might be, take a flyer, big kid, could throw it 70 yards, not refined yet. All right, so I'd put him in the stable. Maybe we let him eat down the road. And then what I do is I target somebody who's a lot cheaper, but to me, as interesting as Shedeur Sanders. Again, if I liked Shedeur Sanders, if I thought he was better than this,
right,
I'd be on the air saying for the next 2 months, hey, you better make sure you get to 2 to make sure that the Browns don't take Shedeur Sanders. Now, it looks like they won't. But I got to tell you, I don't know if we're railing on the Giants here, but we're the energy that we're projecting toward the Giants, this is not, now they've earned it, but this is not the day after the draft. They very well might take a quarterback at number 3. All I'm saying is, I cannot compound this. And I believe by reaching and, continuously trying to chase your tail and, we don't have this and we need that, even though we don't love this, maybe we can make them that. I think that is the worst thing you could do. You've got Abdul Carter, who is going to be a superstar. Draft that kid.
Him or Hunter. We don't know what Cleveland's going to do, but it seems
I think Cleveland's going with Hunter, though. I feel that way.
Some mock drafts have it the other way around, but either way, you're going to get Hunter, or you'll have the chance to pick Hunter or Carter, which I don't disagree with in theory. The problem is the Giants need a quarterback. All right, BT and Sal on the Fan. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. John is in Paramus. What's up, Johnny?
Hey, Sal, BT, how are you guys doing?
Good.
What's happening, bud?
So, Sal, I got to say, I disagree with your theory about the Giants and they need to take a quarterback. Drafting somebody 3rd overall doesn't make them a franchise quarterback. If you're reaching for them. We've seen teams in the past reach for quarterbacks just because they need a quarterback, and it usually doesn't work out. The Giants aren't in a position to pass on an all-pro talent like Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. They need talent like that.
Yeah.
Right. You said the same thing last year with the Malik Neighbors. How'd that work out?
Well, he's terrific at least. They
Is he?
Malik Neighbors is a stud.
Oh, yeah? How was their offense last year?
It's not his fault. You got to have somebody to throw you the ball.
It's not his fault. I know. It's not his fault.
Wait, so you don't think Malik Neighbors is good?
They drafted a wide receiver to do what?
To
score points, right?
Sal,
How'd
come
that
on,
work?
man. That's Neighbors' fault?
I didn't say it was his fault or not.
But do you think he's going to be good if they have a good quarterback eventually?
It's irrelevant.
I think he's going to be a stud.
You said that last year.
And what I saw was studly.
And I saw a team
No, he's already a stud.
Yeah, he is already a stud. How many touchdowns did the Giants score as a team?
But
How many points did the Giants score? He's such a stud. So the point is that it doesn't make a difference if you have a wide receiver who is such a stud like Malik Neighbors if you can't have a quarterback that can get him the ball. Do you see where I'm getting at? It's not about Neighbors.
But if you don't believe Shador is that quarterback, taking him number 3 doesn't fix that.
No,
that's my point.
I didn't say to do that. I said that they have to find a franchise quarterback. I didn't say force the issue and take Shador. I said identify a quarterback in the draft now that you can develop to the franchise quarterback. I don't care if it's Shador Sanders at 3. I don't care if you trade down and get Jackson Dart. I don't care who it is. That's what the Giants need to do. It can't be, let's just keep passing. Nobody's good enough for us for how many years with Shane and Dable?
Yeah, I just don't think you can force the issue. Like I said, the chances of you finding a franchise quarterback at the top of the second round or even trading back into the first round are low.
Yeah, well, John, here's the thing, John. It sounds good. Really, it sounds great because I've said this for the Jets for years. Find a guy in round 2 or round 3, a big, strong, fast guy that can throw it a country mile, coach him up a little bit, then you got your guy. It almost never works. They tried that with Kellen Clemens. The Giants have tried that with other guys. It is a very appealing scouting report or philosophy going into a draft, but it just doesn't work that much. So when you've got a guy like Carter, and by the way, the Hunter Carter thing, I really like Travis Hunter, but if I'm faced with the option, I'm taking Abdul Carter because I don't really know what I think Hunter's best position is corner, and part of the appeal with him is that he does both things. I don't know if he can do both things on a snap-to-snap level on Sunday, so I think Will Johnson might be a better cornerback than him. Bottom line is that to me, there is such a difference with Carter and by the way, even maybe Mason Graham and other options. There is no way I'm taking Shador Sanders at 3. I just don't think he's it. Yeah, and I ain't wasting time on him.
And that's fair. And look, maybe he's there at 7, and maybe the Jets could get involved.
I don't want him at 7.
I'm not. I think Shador is fascinating because where he goes, if he goes number 2, let's say to Cleveland, which we don't anticipate being the case based on reports, then the Giants would have their choice of Hunter or Carter. But I would expect that one of those two guys goes 2 to Cleveland, Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. If I'm Cleveland, I'm taking Carter. But either way, and then the Giants will have the choice of Hunter or Sanders or trading down to getting a quarterback. I just don't understand how people, especially when it was proven last year. We had the same exact argument going into the draft last year. You wanted Neighbors because you said he was going to be a stud.
And he is a stud. Yeah. I know you need a quarterback, but the talent was hit. Yeah. You can say the position was wrong, which you did.
Right. So you wanted him because he was a stud. I said, I don't care if he's a stud or not. They need a quarterback. Here we are again. Yeah, that's great. He's a stud. It did nothing for him. They're one of the worst offenses in the sport.
I don't disagree with that. But I also know that if you get him a competent quarterback, the offense is going to change, and he's going to be an all-pro.
Oh, guess what? He's got Russell Wilson now.
And I guarantee the Giants' offense is better than it was a year ago with the stiffs they rolled out. I promise you that.
Hard to be worse, although look at Pittsburgh, what it was a year ago. Russell Wilson stinks. Jameis Winston stinks.
Oh, I'm not selling these guys, but they're better than what they rolled out last year, Sal.
So then what good is a Malik Neighbors draft pick if you're saying, and I agree with you, that, well, you need to get a quarterback? Yeah, obviously. That's why I wanted the quarterback first. Then you could find a wide receiver. I don't need Malik Neighbors. I need a real quarterback. Then I'll worry about the receiver.
Yeah, but I don't look at it as like just a singular year thing. I look at now, eventually Giants will have to decide is Malik Neighbors when he gets to that, the fifth year option, is he worth $35 million a year, which is what top receivers will be maybe 40 making at that point. That's the Giants' problem. I'll let them, figure that out. But like to me, I'm just a believer. when you're a bad team, and, spoiler, Giants suck, and
Right.
they've been awful forever. And their talent base, we think the Jets are bad. The Giants' talent base has been below the Jets. So to me, I'm a believer. If I could get, 7, 8, 9 difference makers in the building, one would be Abdul Carter, one would be Malik Neighbors, one would be Dexter Lawrence. And now you start to at least look and you're like, oh, wow, we got 6, 7, 8, 9, obviously, left tackle, if he could, Andrew Thomas, if he could stay healthy. Now you can at least have the framework. You can lift up the hood of the Giants and say, all right, they've got some talent that's representative with other teams in terms of top-tier stuff. Now, I give you this. No quarterback, you don't win. But it doesn't mean that they can't get the quarterback unconventionally this year or next year, and then Neighbors doesn't score 20 touchdowns with that guy.
Chris is calling from Highlands, New Jersey. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Chris.
Hey, how we doing, guys?
What's happening, buddy?
First-time caller, long-time listener.
Nice.
Just wanted to get an opinion from you guys on what you guys think of Will Howard, where you guys think he might fall in the
I
draft.
love him.
I saw a video of Gruden's QB camp
Okay.
just the other night they put out, and he looked pretty good. I'm not too convinced. I think we're going to take Carter or Hunter. I don't think we're going to get Shador, but just want to see what you guys think of him, if you think it's a good pick. We should try to make some moves for him.
Well, I'm not taking him at 3. I really do like him. Listen,
Where's he projected to go here?
top 12, and I think that's even stretching. I think he probably goes top 10. Although you never know with trade outs, whatever. But in terms of a talent, he's definitely a top 10. I shouldn't say definitely. In my opinion, he is.
So all of a sudden, Will Howard now is entering the conversation, whereas, a month ago it was, there's only 2 quarterbacks in this draft. Then Jackson Dart started to move up the draft boards. People had him going to the Saints at 9.
This
People had him
happens
going
every
to the
year.
Jets at 7.
But this happens.
And
Now, that's how
but
happened with Blake
that's-
Bortles, happened with Christian Ponder. It doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it book it. From 2 weeks from tonight, I promise you guys will be overdrafted.
Okay, and do you know why they will be overdrafted?
Yes, because teams are dumb and they make the same mistake over and over, and they throw good money at a bad quarterback that they think they're going to turn into a stud.
Because they know the risk of taking a quarterback is worth it, even if you miss.
But why is it? Explain this to
Because
me,
it's the
Sal.
most valuable position in the
I
sport.
know
That's
that,
it,
but-
especially the way that it's evolved now with the cap and all that stuff.
I get that. But when you say, it's worth it, even if it doesn't work out, to me, that makes no sense. How is it worth it if somebody is not the guy? It's an F. The Jets needed a quarterback. They took Zach Wilson. F. Wrong move. And, we know all the other names. I just gave you Blake Bortles, Christian Ponder. Come on, we could play that game all day.
Yeah.
There's the thought of, I need a position. That's sound logic here. The other thought is, if you miss, it's still the right move. And my pushback is, it's the absolute wrong move if he's not the guy.
Yeah, and I just think it's worth the risk because eventually you're going to need that franchise quarterback. All right, BT and Sal on the Fan, 2 weeks out from the draft. I cannot wait. But we got it's going to be a long 2 weeks debating Shador Sanders, what the Giants do, what the Jets do.
It's fun, though. I think this is a really interesting draft for both teams.
And then after the fact, then we can question the picks or see how they're going to work out. But even then, it takes, at least a year usually to figure that out. But always fun speculation. All right, BT and Sal on the Fan, 888-808-1019.